Sri Lanka's foreign debt increased substantially, going from $11.3 billion in 2005 to $56.3 billion in 2020. While foreign debt was about 42% of the GDP in 2019, it rose to 119% of its GDP in 2021. By the end of 2022, the country is due to pay $4 billion to debtors, whereas in April 2022, government reserves amounted to $2.30 billion. Various commentaries blamed the previous presidential administration of Mahinda Rajapaksa for the debt crisis as he steered Sri Lanka in a Chinese debt trap. Much of this was borrowed for large-scale infrastructure projects which turned out to be unprofitable and viewed as white elephants, such as the Hambantota port that ended up being leased to a Chinese company for 99 years after the loan could not be repaid. However, critics of the debt trap diplomacy theory noted that the Hambantota port project was proposed by the Sri Lankan president rather than Beijing, and although it was leased to a Chinese company, Chinese Navy vessels are not allowed to use the port, which houses Sri Lanka's own naval command. The loan was not a debt for asset swap, and Sri Lanka still needs to repay the debt. The $1.1 billion lease was used by Sri Lanka to pay down debts to other creditors and increase foreign reserves. While external debt owed to China was officially 10% of the total debt by April 2021, some officials said that China's total lending was much higher after taking into account loans to state-owned enterprises and the central bank. The Australian Lowy Institute opined that Sri Lanka was not engulfed in a Chinese debt trap, as 47% of Sri Lanka's external debt is owed to international capital markets, while 22% is held by multilateral development banks, followed by Japan having 10%. Supporters of the debt trap theory countered that calculating the volume of loans provided by other foreign nations and sovereign bonds/private commercial loans vis-a-vis that from China is an oft-quoted argument to dismiss the theory of debt trap diplomacy. In January 2022, President Gotabhaya Rajapaksa's office stated that it would appeal to China to reschedule its debt burden during talks with the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi. As of March 2022, there has been no official response from China. In 2020, S&P Global Ratings said Sri Lanka's existing funding sources did not appear sufficient to cover its debt servicing needs, estimated at just over $4.0 billion in 2021. According to the agency Bellwether, to solve Sri Lanka's budgetary problem and repaying debt, Treasuries auctions have to succeed. When that is done, the transfer problem of foreign exchange will be automatically solved. Instead, with failed Treasury bill auctions filled with printed money, the country is slipping deeper into debt. To resolve the debt crisis, Bellwether noted that Sri Lanka would need a credible fiscal plan and monetary policy, increasing taxes to repay debt, and interest rates and opening of imports would allow taxes to flow back to the Treasury.